Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 13 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday morning, the last day of June 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE. We're at 90.9 FM over the airwaves here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on the planet, you've gone to our website to tune in, ksje.com, or maybe you're listening through the KSJE radio app. Or maybe you've asked your smart speaker to play KSJE. It is great to have you all with us this morning, everybody. Also, welcome to our viewers today, the people who are watching me right now. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. Coming up in the next few moments, a really important discussion this morning with my guests from the San Juan United Way. We'll be talking about the work that they are doing, some of the different work that they are doing in the community these days, as well as an upcoming awards luncheon and the 211 system here in San Juan County. Lots to talk about, so stay tuned. That conversation begins in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then later on this morning at 8:50 a.m., we'll be checking in with Amber Francisco over at the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter, and she'll be talking about some of the pets available for adoption this week, including the dog you see on the screen right there, whose name is Blizzard. And we'll hear more about him coming up today at 8:50 on KSJE. Mick Hess is standing by to take us roving with the arts. That's our weekday classical music program coming up at 9:06. And don't forget, if you're a podcast listener, you can find KSJE podcasts. They're available wherever you listen to podcasts, so subscribe and maybe discover a new local program that you may have missed. Or better yet, just download the KSJE radio app. It's available at the App Store or on Google Play. Podcasts are right there. You can listen live anytime and much, much more. It is the KSJE radio app. Outside our studios at San Juan College this morning, a sunny morning so far, 67 degrees. We're expecting mostly sunny skies today. Maybe some winds picking up this afternoon. The high 83 in Farmington, 60 overnight. It'll be sunny and 86 tomorrow, 87 on Thursday, 89 by Friday, maybe 87 on the 4th of July with overnight lows in the mid to lower 60s. Back with my guests from the San Juan United Way right after this on KSJE. In a medical emergency, stroke, heart attack, trauma, every minute matters. The decisions made in those first moments can change everything. San Juan Regional Medical Center offers advanced, comprehensive, definitive care. Available 24 hours a day for everyone in our community. When minutes matter, San Juan Regional Medical Center is here. Find out more at sanjuanregional.com. Get ready for the 40th Annual Freedom Day celebration in Farmington, Friday, July 3rd. The Fireworks Spectacular launches from Sullivan Hill at 9:25 p.m. But here's a secret to the full experience. Watching isn't enough. The show is fully choreographed to music, broadcast live on the radio. So even if you're on site, tune in to hear every burst in sync with the sky. Special thanks to the sponsors Grand Finale, City of Farmington, Citizens Bank, Platinum sponsors Pesco and Farmington Taco Bells, Titanium sponsor Raleigh Industrial, and Gold sponsor San Juan County, Cooper Fire, Zimes Ford Corners, and Dugan Production. Find out more at farmingtonnm.org.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Michlin morning program on KSJE.
Back in the studio with my guests this morning, as I mentioned, from the San Juan United Way this morning, Cathryn Abeyta, Executive Director, is joining us here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Also joining us in the studio, Devin Long is here, the Development Director for United Way. Devin, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you both for coming in to talk a little bit about all the things going on at the United Way. And as I always like to mention to our viewers and listeners, I remain a proud board member of the San Juan United Way. In fact, they've elected me to be Vice President for some strange reason, but I'm proud to serve with my other fellow board members and at the organization. So great to have you here to kind of update everybody on what you all are up to, which is a lot, and a lot of things are happening, and some things United Way has been doing for years and years and years, and those continue, but there's some new things that you've added to the mix, and 211 that you've added to the mix a little bit too. So anyway, lots to talk about, and I'll stop talking so you can, but you're keeping busy for sure.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, as usual, United Way is up to so much in the community. Our 211 is growing exponentially. It's been around for longer than I have. It's a national number that you can call anywhere in the country, and you're going to be routed to your nearest United Way or 211.
So it's kind of like 411 or 911, but this is just another national number that no matter where you are, it routes you to someone local who can help, hopefully.
Yes, and so that's exactly the point. And just like 911 routes people for emergencies, 211 routes people locally for more personal crises or need helping when people need help navigating resources within the community. Maybe somebody got an eviction notice that's behind on rent or utilities. Really are the number one calls we get from community members, and they're looking for assistance. They don't know what to do. Maybe for some this has been the first time they've ever had that issue, and so they just don't know where they're supposed to call. They don't know if there's a program available, if they'd qualify. There's a lot to walk through to be able to find help. And so if you don't know, then starting at 211, you dial that simply on your phone and you literally reach our office, and you can share what your situation is, and we're going to try to find the very best local resource. If it's not local, we're going to look regional. If it's not regional, we're going to look statewide. But really, we really work together with 911 and 988, and all together, all three of these three-digit numbers ensure that as long as the community knows those three numbers, there's no wrong door. If you accidentally call the wrong one and you need the other, they're going to get you to where you need to go.
You could transfer those calls or whatever, right? Or at least get them to the right
they'll
place,
get you to the right place. Whether or not they're all linked in together or not is one thing, but
someone will answer the phone.
Someone will answer the phone.
Yeah.
And someone will be there to help. So in our community, the phone is answered locally here in Farmington, and so it's obviously subject to our business hours. We aren't there yet where we can have 24-hour calling,
right.
But that's something that we're looking at because the need exists. And like you'd imagine, people run into crisis or need help figuring out what to do way beyond 3
Not just
or
9 to
5
5.
o'clock.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
During the times when they're off of work themselves, maybe.
Sure.
And that's often the times that all of the programs are closed. And so that's something that we're looking to as we see our calls increase and increase, not just in frequency, but in complexity too.
Sure.
Just really just needing that extra support in figuring out multiple steps. It's usually not just one thing.
Right, when someone's facing an issue, a crisis, or whatever it might be.
Right.
And so if someone calls like after 5 o'clock or on the weekends, then they just leave a message is the idea, and then the person that's there can get back to them the next business day. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. The very first thing the next morning is those calls are returned.
Yeah.
And we get them to our email too. And so if there was something that was an emergency that felt like they should not be calling 211 about this, we've been able to triage that and handle that after hours or get them to the right number. Maybe 988 is a more appropriate number for them.
Right. And about how many calls are you getting every month, week, however you're measuring those?
You know, it's skyrocketing, and it's between 500 and 600 calls a month.
A month?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just from people in San Juan County.
That's local. That's San Juan County 211. Got it. And so I guess that's maybe a good problem to have, as I say, kind of with a quizzical look on my face, because maybe the word's getting out more about this service, and so more people are taking advantage of it, and that's why the numbers are going up. Maybe there's not more people in crisis necessarily, but they're at least finding out about this new resource. And it's not necessarily new, but new to us, perhaps.
Yes. No, that's right, because we've known that the need has existed pretty consistently most of this time. Even when I started 10 years ago, our 211
Stop it. It hasn't been 10 years. Has it been 10 years, Cathryn and
We
Abeyta?
just crossed that threshold like a month ago. I know.
I wasn't feeling old this morning, and now I feel old this morning because I was there when we hired you. So
were.
yeah, so thanks for that. But okay, I'm sorry.
I won't even tell you or tell anyone how many years we honored you shortly after I started.
Yeah, right. I'm still there, and he's still there.
We won't do math this early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. But I interrupted you, and I apologize.
No.
But the numbers are up, and that's a good thing, I guess. Huh?
It is, because the need always existed, and the 211 a decade ago really existed in a much smaller, more abbreviated resource. It was strictly information and referrals, and because we're United Way, we happen to know so much about referrals and agencies and programs and initiatives that not any singular nonprofit might know all about. And so it's a perfect opportunity for us to be able to sort of have that bird's eye view, help people get to the right place. But the goal back then was really to just, it was sort of like a live phone book in a way for people transitioning out of, looking at a phone book and, not being able to find the reliable number online necessarily at the time, or have a printed out resource guide. And so it's really grown now to adapt to what the community's needs were. We learned a lot during the pandemic about adapting to people's needs. Aren't just being there when the crisis hits, but also can we be there as a resource before that happens? And that's what we're also seeing, an increase of people calling that don't yet have that eviction notice, but they know that they just lost their employment, and so they know they're going to be behind.
What do I do
rent.
next month?
Yeah, next month. And so we're hearing more and more calls like this from people that we call Alice. They're working, they're doing everything they're supposed to. We can't say go get a job.
Right.
They have one, and
Yeah.
they're still experiencing struggles just paying for basic needs, but then they also run into eligibility problems because their income might be over the federal poverty line or the percentage that the program is using it based on.
Right. Go ahead, Devin.
And like Cathryn was saying, a lot of these agencies are singular, and it's too much for them to know all the different agencies and what is happening in the community and where to necessarily refer everybody. And so that's the other great piece about 211 is it's not just for community members in need, but also case managers. And so right now, if say someone has a client with a very complex issue, or they're not too sure where to send them, rather than continuously having these community members in need calling, sharing their story, starting from scratch every single time, those case managers can actually call us directly, and they can get the resources as well and also gain that knowledge. I mean,
Nice.
Our database is for anyone and everyone looking to learn about a unique problem.
Right. And so I guess some of those 500 or so calls a month you're talking about are maybe also coming from these case managers from other agencies trying to work with their clients to figure out where to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and really even across sectors, we get calls from teachers at schools, we get calls from nurses and social workers in the hospitals. We get calls from elected leaders who are trying to help out constituents. We're helping anyone who is in the community trying to help and support somebody. We're there also not just as a support for that person, but for the support system.
Yeah.
And another area I think that we've seen our calls increase, and I expect that it's going to keep increasing as we push the awareness of this, is really around our aging population and their caregivers. So there's just so many people who don't identify themselves as a caregiver because it's just what we do. Of course, we're going to take care of our mom and dad. Of course, we're going to take care of, our family. And so bringing them into our home or being the one responsible to take them to appointments or manage their medication or insurances and whatnot, all of that turns you into a caretaker. And we've partnered actually with AARP and the state to help caretakers get more access to available resources that are already in existence. There's so much available to help people who are already doing the work to help our aging population stay at home and live a healthier, happier life with their family. And so not only do we have resources and services that can help whoever you're caretaking for, but there's extra supports that the state provides that we're trying to help get people connected to locally that actually support you, the caretaker.
Nice.
And so that's something that we're really excited about, because there's so many people who call looking for help for the person that they're caretaking for, and then to get to hear that, wait, there's possibly some help for me, and that could be respite care where they can tag in.
You can take a break and somebody else can come in. Someone qualified, certified can come in and take over momentarily while you maybe have a doctor's appointment yourself, or need to just take the kids to school, or or whatever it is, right?
Whatever it is. And some people don't realize that different insurances can actually pay for certain amounts of home health care or different aids and different kind of support to just be able to make the love and compassion that you're trying to give your loved one last longer.
Yeah.
So
great. Good to know. And so, and I can see why those calls are growing, because the services, you're finding out more about what you can offer and what you can connect people with. And so it's a great new part of United Way.
Yes.
And so that's great. You mentioned Alice, and so I want to talk a little bit more about that too, because that's an acronym that I always forget what it stands for, but you talked about kind of who it stands for and who it represents, but tell us more about this new kind of designation that is getting maybe a closer look at this population, right, that qualifies as Alice.
Yeah, so Alice is what we call our affordability data. It stands for asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So these are the folks in our community that are working. They are doing everything that they're supposed to. They have a family, they have hobbies, they maybe take their kids to sports, but like so many, there's about a quarter of the population in San Juan County falls within this designation, where you make well above the federal poverty line, which for a family of four right now is $30,000. So you make more than what the federal government says the poverty line is.
Right, so you don't qualify for a lot of the programs that we hear talked about sometimes, right?
There's a lot of programs, yes, that use the federal poverty line or the area average income as their basis for how to qualify people. And a lot of those are set by the federal government, and they just haven't been updated. And so a lot of agencies are, they don't have a choice sometimes to have to spend certain dollars that way. But when we can advocate for this extra demographic, what we can really help show is that a quarter of the households in San Juan County are struggling, and we don't know it yet because they're not showing up to our agencies asking for food boxes yet, because they don't need that yet. But one thing leads to another, and we see people spiral so quickly when it comes to a financial loss. So if somebody in their house were to lose employment, that can have such a domino effect, and it can happen pretty quickly, and we can see the consequences of that in a really devastating way, because it's not something that there's programs readily available to step in and bring that family back out of that situation, because oftentimes the programs require you to wait till you qualify. So the spiral is necessary to get to the qualification to then get the assistance that you need.
But if someone's asking for maybe what's your tax return or something like that to verify your income, and they're looking at last year's income and you're above that poverty line, and they say, well, we can't help you, you don't qualify, but even though right there that day they do qualify because they just lost their job or what have you. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Sometimes that happens. Like that? Pay stubs are a really common thing that are asked for, and so if somebody like Alice is trying to get ahead of a problem that they foresee happening, they don't qualify because of their pay stubs.
They're showing a higher
because
income.
of what they show. They need to come back with an eviction notice, or they need to come back with the pay stub showing that they, it's expired. They are not receiving a paycheck anymore, or some other proof of unemployment. And in that time, that's that critical time where we're losing the ability for that family maybe to remain stable. And so they might get kicked out of their home and now be in a shelter situation, and then maybe mom or dad can get their job back or get new employment. But by then, now it's going to take a month or more to save up first and last month's rent, or maybe they could qualify for assistance at this point. But now we've already had to find temporary shelter for them, and we've had to take them. This was a family that was completely stable. They were, on the verge, but they were stable.
Right.
And we waited for them to be in dire need before we were able to help them. It's not only more expensive to do that, but it's not the compassionate way we should be intervening in our community. And so this data helps us not just tell that story, but to really share a language and an understanding with the rest of the nonprofits and agencies and community members that have the opportunity to consider eligibility. And can there be any modifications to that or considerations for families that fit into this population that just need a little bit more help, or something else worse will happen. And
Right.
so that's what we've been starting to see. We've been broadening a lot of partnerships in the community. I'm so impressed with our community agencies, not surprised, but it's just exciting to see that so many of them are open and willing to see how do we fluctuate, how can we make exceptions, and how can we see this population so that we can help and step in and support before it's dire.
Right. And this is a relatively new approach, is it not, to looking
Yes.
at these families, these individuals too, in the community that maybe, again, they don't qualify for these usual programs because they maybe have pretty stable employment until they don't, or
Yes.
something else happens, or an expensive car repair, or a medical bill, or anything else that messes up their budget, and now they're in trouble, or could be in trouble, or
Yes.
spiraling into trouble kind of thing.
It's a much more upstream approach, which is a little bit different than how United Way's tackled things in the past. We've really tackled things as what is the most urgent need in the community. Let's put as much funding and resources to that as possible and support the agencies that are supporting that urgent need. And while that's still important to be as reactive as necessary to help our safety net, this ALICE data really prepares us for the future, I think, a lot better by saying, hey, we've got to spend some time and energy and resources upstream to prevent even worse things from happening in our social service system that we wouldn't be able to fix ourselves.
Right. And is this something, too, that the state is also kind of taking a look at, and maybe even some federal agencies, some of this data to say, we're really helping these folks who are in poverty and,
Yes.
and helping them maybe get out of poverty, but what about this next level of families in this ALICE category?
Yeah, we're getting asked more and more about it. I know that in plenty of other states, different state departments and even some legislatures have actually adopted the ALICE budget threshold, and some employers have too, as this is their starting point, and they use this data because it's so personalized to every community. The data represents the same thing across the country, but it is specific to every single zip code, and it quite literally goes to every zip code in our community. And so it's a great thing to use to help standardize things where a situation in a system like area median income or federal poverty line just don't capture the need and don't capture the families that are on that edge.
Sure. Right. Well, that's good to know. I think that,
Yes.
that's being looked at, and maybe some more help on the way. But it's certainly something that United Way is watching and looking at. And as you say, it's about a quarter of the families here in San Juan County,
Yes.
which is actually, I guess, how do we compare to the state? Are we a little bit?
Actually, just a little under, so about 27%, 28% of the state fall into this ALICE category.
Okay.
And statewide, another 17% fall under the federal poverty line, which is $30,000 for a family of four. And in San Juan County, our ALICE rate is actually a little bit more favorable, but our poverty rate, we have a few extra points, so we're still at about 17 or 18% on that.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know. Very good. I also want to talk about an event that's coming up in August that people are starting to hear about, this awards luncheon from the San Juan United Way. And Devin, I know you've been working on this a little bit too. And so talk to me a little bit about the idea behind getting folks together and handing out some things, some kudos, some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's been numerous events where a lot of nonprofits are acknowledged, and But what our goal is with this awards luncheon is to bring awareness and attention to those that are doing the work, right? You know, you hear a lot about the agencies as an entirety, but our goal is to acknowledge, you know, the volunteers, the caregivers, the case managers that have just demonstrated leadership, exemplary service, and we want them to know that they are appreciated, and they're the ones that are showing up every day. They're supporting those community clients that are in need, and we know that they're doing a great job. And so actually through today, June 30th, on the end of the day, we have our nominations open on our website. So if anyone still wants to try and put in a nomination for someone they know, it's not too late.
But it will be
yes.
soon. Okay,
yes.
The clock is ticking.
Yes, so
okay.
They have until today. We've received dozens of nominations already. And then also, I mean, me and Cathryn work really closely with the nonprofits, and through 211 we hear a lot of great things. So we will also be awarding those that we are seeing as well that are showing up and doing an amazing job. So
right.
It's going to be on August 12th, 2026 this year, 11:30 at the Farmington Civic Center. You can get your tickets on our website. It is $20. We're going to have catering from Chili Pod, so delicious food that'll be there.
Nice, right.
And yeah, so we hope that everyone can come and join us. It is open to the community, whether you're with an agency, a business, you want to come see the great things that are happening. It's going to be a wonderful event.
Nice. Very good. Well, and of course, some of us are old enough to remember when the United Way would have a luncheon or a dinner or a something every year to kind of talk about the campaign. Mm-hmm. And this is a little bit of a shift in that as well, because this is kind of a new kind of way to thank members of the community, it sounds to me.
Yeah, we really see it as a group in the community that there's not a luncheon and award ceremony for, and there should be. You know,
right.
We're really appreciative to all of our funders and workplace campaigns and all of the donations and sponsorships that help us do our work, but we also know that our work would be nothing without the people who are actually on the ground every day across the county doing it and doing the work, whether or not people see it, whether or not we even know about it. And so it's been really inspiring and just exciting to see the nominations come in and to hear what people have to say about the people that they work with or that they know around the community and what they're doing. And what you think maybe goes unseen, and it actually really makes a mark in someone's life, and they want others to know about that. I think it's going to be a special opportunity to just get to hear some really awesome things that are going on in the community that many of us don't even realize.
Yeah, very true. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for putting it together. Thank you for working on it and getting the word out. But again, mark your calendars for August 12th. Again, tickets are available at the website, sanjuanunitedway.org. And I'm not sure if it's going to sell out, but you never know, right? So maybe get your tickets earlier than later. Don't wait.
Oh, absolutely. There is limited seating. We're looking at about 150. And so, yes, we definitely recommend everyone come get your tickets while you can. Okay, very good. And before we run out of time completely, I did want to give a shout out. You had a nice Focus on Farmington coffee event at the San Juan United Way offices and conference room. It was a nice turnout, I thought. So kudos on that and putting all that together and getting everyone there. A nice crowd. I'm sure you got a little bit of time to mingle a little bit and talk to folks who were there. So talk about what you do. Yeah, it was great to have the community come see our space. We don't have a lot of traffic in our building, and so it was great to have everybody come out, and we put a lot of work. Devin really has put a lot of work into our conference room that really used to be just that, and now it's really transformed into like a training space, workspace, conference room that we're excited to be able to open up to any of the nonprofits in the county that want to use it and need a space. We're on the west side of town, and we're happy to let you use it. Nice. You make it available for folks if they need a space like that. So that's very good. And Devin learned all about tables and chairs probably with that project, right? Oh, very much. Yes, but like Cathryn said, it's going to be amazing to see such a breath of fresh air in the building and that space being utilized more. Very good. Well, great. Well, thank you both for coming in to talk about the work that you do and the work with the nonprofits and even beyond. I think it's just been an expanded vision and effort. And so as a board member, it's great to see. So thanks for sharing that with us this morning. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to see you both. My guests this morning from the San Juan United Way with me here on KSJE.
Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.